All right, let's dive in. Today, we are tackling a huge pain in the neck for so many Go high-level users, getting your A2P 10DLC application approved. Now, that's just the fancy name for the system carriers use to make sure business texting is legit. And with the rules getting tighter and tighter, one tiny mistake can get your whole SMS operation shut down. So, over the next few minutes, we're going to walk through a step-by-step plan to get you approved on the very first try. Let's get to it. Look, let's just be real for a second. The mobile carriers are seriously tightening the screws. It's not an exaggeration to say that your SMS marketing could literally be turned off overnight if you aren't perfectly compliant. This isn't just about checking a few boxes anymore. The carriers are trying to protect everyone from spam, and that means they are putting every single business under a microscope. For you, this is all about protecting one of your most powerful ways to reach your customers. So what's our game plan? It's simple. We've got a clear roadmap. First, we'll quickly cover the new rules. Then, we'll dive deep into building a bulletproof business profile. After that, we'll get your website and your opt-in process looking perfect. Then we'll walk through the application itself, and finally, we'll cover what happens after you hit that submit button. Okay, first up, let's get a handle on the new landscape. The carriers are demanding absolute, total precision. For example, they now require an employer identification number, your EIN. That's your federal tax ID, just to even apply. What does that mean for you? It means there is literally zero room for error. Getting every detail right from the very start is not just a good idea, it's non-negotiable. And that brings us to what is, without a doubt, the single most important part of this whole process: your business profile inside Go High Level. Seriously, think of this as the foundation of a house. If you have even one tiny crack here, the entire application is just going to crumble. It all starts here. Here's exactly what you need to have ready to go, and it has to be perfect. You need your exact legal business name, your business type like LLC or sole prop, that all-important EIN, your industry, your full business address, and the details for an authorized representative. Oh, and here's a key detail: their phone number has to be a real personal number, not one of your Twilio numbers. Listen up, because this is the #1 reason applications fail. I cannot stress this enough. Your information has to be a 100% perfect match with your official business documents, like that EIN confirmation letter you got from the IRS, often called a CP57 form. No nicknames, no abbreviations, no variations. The name and address on your profile must be character for character identical to what the government has on file for you. Okay, so once your business profile is rock solid, it's time to look at what the carriers see out in the open. And believe me, they will look. They are going to go to your website, and they are going to inspect your forms to check two things. One, that you're a real, legitimate business, and two, that you're getting proper, explicit consent before you send people text messages. So here are the absolute must-haves for your website or your funnel. It has to be live and working, obviously. It needs to be on a proper custom domain, no default Go High Level links allowed. And most importantly, you have to have separate, dedicated pages for your privacy policy and your terms of service, with working, clickable links to both of them right there in the footer of your site. Now, let's talk about a super important and honestly kind of weird detail that trips up so many people. On your opt-in form, that field where people enter their phone number, it should not be marked as required. I know, it sounds completely backward, but this is a very specific compliance check they look for. So just go into your form builder and make sure that little required box is unchecked. All right, the consent checkbox itself, it needs to have 4 mandatory parts, no exceptions. You have to state your legal business name, the same one that's on your EIN docs. You have to include info on help and stop keywords. You need to mention the message frequency. And, this is critical, you have to include live, clickable links to your privacy policy and terms of service right there in the consent text. Okay. Our foundation is solid, our public-facing stuff is in order. Now we are ready to actually tackle the application itself inside the Go High Level Trust Center. This is where we pull everything together and present our case to the carriers for review. The whole process is broken down into 2 main steps. First up is brand verification. This is pretty much where they just double-check all that business info we perfected back in step 1. Then, once that's good, you move on to campaign verification, which is where you explain exactly how and why you're going to be sending text messages. When you get to your campaign description, don't overthink it. Keep it simple and clear. A template just like this one works perfectly. Now, the most important thing here is to replace company name with your exact legal business name from your profile. Remember, consistency is everything. When it comes to providing your sample messages, be specific. This example for an appointment confirmation is just perfect. Why? It clearly identifies your company by name, it provides real value to the customer, and it includes that mandatory opt-out language. Reply stop to unsubscribe. Now, if your messages are ever going to include links, you have to provide a sample that shows that, just like this one. And here's the key. Back in the application, you have to find and turn on the little toggle that says something like, message will include an embedded link. You've got to make sure your samples actually match the features you say you're going to use. Finally, you need to spell out exactly how your users give you permission to text them. This template right here ties it all together beautifully. It specifically states the website where they opt in, it mentions the checkbox, and it just makes the whole process crystal clear for the person reviewing your application. So you've done it. You've meticulously followed every single step, you've filled everything out, and you've hit that submit button. And now, you wait. So let's talk about what happens next, whether you get that awesome approval or the dreaded rejection notice. This is the big question on everyone's mind, right? What if, after all that work, it gets rejected? Okay, first things first, do not panic. A rejection is not the end of the road. Think of it as feedback. The carriers are just telling you exactly what you need to go back and fix. And the great news is, you can see here just how straightforward the fixes usually are. The Trust Center will give you a specific reason for the failure. If it says there's mismatched info, you know exactly where to go. Back to the business profile. If it's an issue with the opt-in, you go check your website. The solution is almost always directly tied to one of the steps we've already covered today. So let's boil this all down to the ultimate checklist. If you nail these 6 things, you are on the fast track to approval. 1. Your business info must be an exact match to your official docs. 2. The phone number field on your form is not required. 3. Your consent checkbox wording is precise and complete. 4. Your policy links actually work. 5. Your company name is used consistently everywhere. And 6. Every single sample message includes opt-out language. So there you have it. We've laid out the entire roadmap, from the foundational details all the way to submission. The only question left is, are you ready to put it into action? Take a few minutes, go review your own setup against this checklist, and you can get your business fully compliant and, most importantly, approved. That's all for this breakdown.